Alright, so Summer Ghost, I thought that, hey, he's a seasonal unit. I should still make this video. And I'm sure a lot of people did end up pulling him. A lot of people did get shafted on these Summer Noel banners, so unlucky, man. Now, Ghost is actually a pretty good unit. He's kind of like a all-attack version of Williams, so there is that. He does work pretty well. I just hate his intro. It looks so... It's creepy, man. It's creepy. I don't know. They could have put anything else, and especially for thumbnails, ain't no way am I using this, bro. With this face, So I actually think he's very good, and for nuking wise, he does work incredibly well. So let's hop into it, explain what he does, go over everything. Timestamps down below, like always, except for my Black Asta guide, which I forgot to add. But let's get into it. So let's go into a skill preview and slowly explain everything and show how it works, and also something kind of important. So skill 1 is going to be giving weapon enhancement to everyone on the team who's above 80% HP. So when I use it, we're going to get that the 30% increased damage dealt. Now his skill 2 is going to be a buffing attack, and it's going to be applying a new buff on the enemies alongside 2 other buffs. So it's going to be applying all attack to the person you choose, a single target, for 2 turns, level by 50%, right? All attack is going to be increasing attack and magic attack, and this obviously is the only type of buff that you could kind of stack, quote unquote, next to another attack buff, so that, let's say, if you have a 74%, 84% attack buff from William, you could apply the attack buff on, let's say, Asta, and both of the buffs will stick. Then there's a chance for him to get the penetration buff, and then he applies intense sunlight. So what does intense sunlight do? So if we check it out, it's going to be applying 5% increased damage dealt up to 10%, okay, up to 10%, up to 3 times, right? So when you level up that skill 2, you're going to be increasing the amount that the intense sunlight is going to be giving up to 10%. So in total, if you have 3 stacks of it, you are going to be getting 30% increased damage dealt from the intense sunlight. Now, the main way, if you don't have any dupes in him, to get the buffs, the intense sunlight buffs, is only the skill 2, and you can get it once per time that you use it, okay? So that is that for the skill 2. It does give a very good buff. Being able to get that damage increase plus all attack increase in the same skill is very good. Now, his ult is going to be a 30% up to 40% damage reduction upon taking 10% of his HP, which is honestly fine for a reason we'll talk about later. People try, like, I feel like some people who make a big deal out of it just don't, like, 10%, come on, man, come on. Now, it's going to be giving accuracy to everyone, and of course, accuracy reduces the chance that someone blocks a skill, and then he gives DLT immunity for 2 turns. Now, what's cool about this damage reduction is because of how it's worded, I'm going to test it out right in this video to show you guys, but I'm pretty sure you could stack this alongside Williams because of the fact that you cannot stack buffs that are worded the exact same, but you could stack buffs that are worded differently. And GAUCHE's is worded differently, okay? So Williams is worded Fortify level 3, okay? Where GAUCHE is just damage reduction by 30 up to 40%, okay? So in terms of skill order of what you would want to upgrade, I would recommend for pretty much everyone, if it wants to load, to get the skill 2 up first and then the ultimate, because it also increases the damage taken by that, and it gets you up to a 100% chance to get the penetration. So those are the 2 skills that I would personally recommend you guys getting up. Now, as for passives, let's go and talk about that. So the normal passive is going to be giving you 15% of your HP as as healing when a buff expires, which kind of offsets this 10% that you lose here completely and more. So to me, this is like, I guess it's why they did that. Is it useless? Yes, but it's there. Now, his dupe passive, time to talk about his dupes, and should you be duping him? So he gets HP by how much? So he's going to be getting 8,000 HP, unless I counted wrong. 8,000 HP and 6 speed up to what's it called, 116 speed. Okay, 116 speed is very high, and he's going to be getting crit rate. Now, the reason why he's getting crit rate is because of his skill page, which if you get a crit, it removes an instance of DLT, which is why they're giving the crit rate. But honestly, you don't really want that skill page, but nevertheless. Anyway, so the main part, the stats are honestly pretty mediocre besides the speed. The speed does kind of help him out a lot, but he already has 110 speed, which is already higher than pretty much every other support, or about the same. Now, at Dupe 2, when he uses the skill 2, which is the skill that gets him the intense sunlight buff, there's a chance, or there's another random intense sunlight buff that's going to apply. So if you get lucky, you could apply 2 intense sunlight buffs at once, okay? Then at max dupe, both the skill 2 and the ultimate will apply a random intense sunlight buff. So with only using the skill 2 once, if you get lucky, you could have someone with all 3 of the damage buffs almost instantly, okay? So you, or well, like after 2 turns. So like you use the skill 2 and then you use the ult, and then you're going to basically be chilling, right? So that's how it's going to look for GAUCHE. And yeah, overall, should you dupe, I don't really think it's worth it, especially because well, to be fair, he's a all, like, you could still get the damage buffs over time, and fully duping him I don't think is worth. If you have the 2 dupes, then just feed the dupes in. I don't think it's something you should be chasing, especially when Sally exists too, and Gift is going to be coming out. But for now, I think 2 dupes is fine if you have it. I don't think you should chase it or put universal dupes into him at all though. Okay, so let's go over to the skill pages now and start talking about it. So the best one for sure is this one. So this Sally skill page is going to be that when you use the skill 2, it's going to be applying 10% all attack increase to the person with the highest attack. Now this is obviously going to be good because of the fact that it's going to be applying another 10% alongside the 50% buff you're getting from his skill 2. Now, besides that, you could use both the kind of like similar ones in Finral and Valtos, where Finrals, when you use the skill 2, there's a chance to increase your stamina or mobility, and then for Valtos, it's on the ult, which the ult one might be better because of the fact it's just guaranteed increased stamina. So it's really up to you. Obviously, you could spam the skill 2 more, but if you want to use the ultimate one, then there's that. Now, if you don't want to be stunned turn 1, then you could use these 2. I always recommend these for supporters or people who like don't want to be stunned turn 1, which is most of the well, most of the game. So these 2 are always options that are available for people, but as for damaging ones, there's not many. Now for his skill page, I don't really like it because it is very much revolving around DOT immunity, and it's honestly not exactly the best. Just getting like, if you land a crit on a support unit, right, if you land a crit, you get to dispel 2 DOTs, and then on the the passive, it's going to be you have a chance to grant DOT immunity, and if not, you get poison immunity. Poison is not exactly strong, right? And also DLTs on global are not exactly the craziest. But for JP, it might not be a bad skill page because of how much burns are there. But I don't think it's really worth it because it's mainly going to be revolving around him getting the DLT immunity on that passive part. So that's that. Now let's go to his talent build and kind of explain how we do that. So this is the ones that I would recommend, the damage dealt one and the crit damage one, just because these are like 2, like just universal ones. If you're not really sure what to apply on anyone, I'd say those are the 2 best ones. Now for here, I would say the defense 20% and the extra per wave one is going to be good. Then for here, I would say that these 2 are, this is very important by the way, that you do the skill 2 cooldown, reducing skill 2 cooldown by 1 turn with the chance one. The mage's blessing one is good, and then the blocking, because you don't really want accuracy and penetration, so you would put it with the blocking. And yeah, this one obviously is very good because you want to be able to try to get a skill 2 much quicker instead of using the skill 1, because the skill 1 sure could give you the increased damage, but there's the fact that, okay, there's the fact that if you're not above 80%, the skill 1 is not going to be giving you that damage increase. Now, what's cool is that the weapon enhancement increases your damage, but you have a different way to increase damage on the skill 2, so you could kind of like all stack these, which I just like think is something worth mentioning, okay? Now, let's show us gear. I would say that the best way to run him is definitely 4 speed with defense. There's not another way I would run a supporter. I really do think that 4 speed plus 2 defense is the best way to run someone. Now, if you don't want to get, if you don't need the defense or whatever, yeah, if you're running a barrier team, maybe you want to get a bit extra speed in case you get what's it called, debuffed, where the 2 speed or the 2 set speed is when you get when you get stunned. So I don't really think, I keep on thinking it's debuffed, but no, never mind. So you really do want to give 4 speed, then 2 speed, 4 speed, then 2 defense, okay? Now, the stats you would kind of chase, I don't really think they matter too much in my opinion, but it would be HP, defense, crit res, damage res. Any of the defensive ones are good. I wouldn't go for anything attack based, and then obviously for the accessories, you could just put some like defense on him and then all that stuff. So really building up his defense, making sure he's able to live. That's what should be happening for all of these people. But I'm telling you, just 4 speed plus 2 speed defense usually is the kind of norm and what you should be running on people like this. So I'm going to go quickly into a match to show you guys a type of combo that would be pretty important. Okay, so we see William's damage reduction is 34%, right? So this damage reduction is going to be something that is a different title to this. So when we do apply this, right, we're going to see right now is that the Fortify is going to apply, okay, twice. So we got the actual, where is it? So we got the reduced damage taken by 35% here, okay? And that this is GAUCHE's. Now, because William's title is different, it's going to be allowing to stack. So we have a 39, sorry, a 69. That's funny. We're gonna have a 69% damage reduction if you apply both of these. So if you want to go into PvP and like face a Riot Licked team, this might be a way to go about it, right? Double damage reduction maybe could definitely work. 69% damage reduction, then extra 5%. I'm pretty sure from, where's he getting it from? Grants all allies 5% fortify buff for 1 turn upon using the special skill. Okay, yeah, so they get the damage to extra damage taken. So they're looking at 74% reduced damage taken just for 2 people using their damage reduction alts. But you got to make sure it's worded differently. Okay, it has to be fortify level 3 and then any other type of wording, where here it's reduced damage taken. Now, let me get out of here. How you can tell by the title, or just like for an example of what's the same title, is if we go to Pride 1, right? I'm pretty sure Gul'dali, yeah, fortify level 3. So this would not be able to stack with William because it is the exact same wording. Buffs with the exact same wording, even if the levels are different, do not stack. Only one is going to stay, usually the highest level, or it's going to reset the turn amount. So that is something that I think is important to mention. In terms of teams, you could definitely go for something like that. Now, for best units that GAUCHE does work with, I would say that let's talk about his nuking team first, and where you could run Charlotte. For like Raya, you would do this. You could put this, and then where's the last one? What am I trying to think? Where is it? Funeral. Sorry, I really had a blank. So how this team works, GAUCHE gives like damage increases plus also the all attack. Then Funeral gives attack. So the attack and all attack will both be able to be applied. Then Charlotte's going to reduce defense and incapacitate. And then Riot does his big numbers. Now, obviously, he does work pretty well on a Noelle team. I'd say almost better than Sally because of the fact that Sally's all attack buff is on her ult, and that would be a counter attack for Noelle to do if Sally uses it and the Noelle has a barrier on the other team, the blessing barrier, because of the fact that it's an attack ult to get that buff, right? So you could apply this and then maybe push Charlotte and then have Voltos, or you could go much more slow and have Rades and have GAUCHE be there for both the damage reduction, which is very strong, right, and the all attack increase on either Rades or Noelle. And then you would be able to have 2 very strong barriers from this team. And if all of your units are going first, you can have Voltos apply the magic attack to Rades, GAUCHE apply the all attack to Noelle, and then they have their own little things to go off of, right? And like this is why Voltos plus GAUCHE does work pretty well for this type of team comp. And of course, as I mentioned before, you could go for a full blue team like this, where no, not that. You would put Lotus, have the double damage reduction, go for bop bop, and then Lotus is going to be your kind of carry here, if anything. So something like that. So let me know if this was helpful. That's basically it for right now, and I will see you guys in the next one. But GAUCHE is actually a pretty intricate unit, and I think pretty fun. So yeah, guys, try him out. And obviously, as a supporter, he does really help out, especially for Noelle.